Good evening. It's Wednesday, the 9th of December, 2020. Diane Hands bringing you Book for the Day. Human Crossings. 9 stories about refugees. And I've been reading to you from the story that I wrote for this book. Rubina's story. Riches to rags to riches. And we've got to the part in the story where Rubina, her brother and sister are standing on the path, watching the ambulance go out through the gates, carrying their mother, their baby brother and their father. And Frank says, I will let you know what's happening as soon as I hear from your father. It is well into the afternoon before we hear anything from my father. Frank finds us in the stables and tells us father is on his way back here. I ask, how's my mother and baby Sami? Frank responds rather sheepishly, your father will tell you when he gets here. Come along, dinner is ready. You have worked so hard today. You must all be hungry. My father finds us eating dinner. Frank asks him to sit down and eat. Father says, he's not hungry. I can't wait any longer. And burst out, how about mother and Sami? My father starts to cry. He blurts out, they're both dead. Frank takes over. There will have to be an inquest as to what happened and a post-mortem to find out why it happened. The medics think that your mother had a heart attack and rolled onto Sami and suffocated him. We all start to cry. This is just not real. I'm having a nightmare. I will wake up in the morning and everything will be fine. If only that were true. Frank asked my father, did the authorities tell you when you will be contacted? Father says, we will be contacted in a couple of days and we will all be interviewed. I think they will be asking you questions too. Frank says he needs to go to his office, but we'll be back soon. I put my head in my hands and just cry. Nothing will ever be the same again. What is going to happen to us? Frank returns and says, I have managed to change some of the plots around so you won't have to move. You can stay where you are for another week. That is one problem solved. But I'm just going around in a dream. I make sure my brother and sister shower, clean their teeth, and change their clothes. Somehow I learn how to use a washing machine. I never did any washing before. Maya always took care of that. Father sits with his head in his hands, moaning to himself. Why did I not see there was a problem, that she was unwell? I've looked after hundreds of people with her condition and they recovered from a heart attack. This is all my fault. Just then, a man puts his head into the tent and asks for Father. The man shows Father his identification and asks us to accompany him to reception, as we are to be asked some questions. He has a vehicle outside, so we didn't need to walk. Rosarita, Saeed and I are taken to a room at the back of Frank's office, and my father is taken to another. We enter the room where a lady and gentleman are sitting behind a desk with a pile of papers in front of them. The lady asks us to sit down, and if we would like something to drink, we say, "No, thank you." Then she said she is sorry about the deaths of my mother and baby brother, but she needs to ask us some questions about our mother. She also says that if we don't understand the question, please say so. We will try to be as brief as possible. We want to know about your family and how you came to be in Greece. They ask where we live, about our parents, were there any problems, did my parents argue? She goes on and on while we answer as best as we can. We describe what we did on Mother's last day, including what we remember, her eating, drinking. At last, the interview is over. We are thanked and are taken to our father. While driving us back, he tells us that our statements will be examined and will be taken to court along with the findings of the post-mortem in 2 days' time. He also says we should be there at 10 a.m. Frank comes to court with us. We listen to the judge outlining what had happened. From the findings of the post-mortem, Mother had had a heart attack, possibly caused by a blood clot from the operation when she had Sami, and that Sami was suffocated. The judge was sympathetic and said that Mother and baby Sami bodies could now be taken by an undertaker and arrangements made to have them buried. And that concludes the story for today, and tomorrow we'll find out what happens next. Human Crossings can be found on Amazon, and you can also read more about Human Crossings on our Facebook page. Thank you for listening. Diane Hans.